Hi, I'm Jason Garfield. If you're watching this video, I'm either dead or presumed dead. The practice techniques unveiled in this video have remained a mystery for thousands of years, and only now are available to the general public. This video will take you step by step from 3 to 11 balls and show you proper practice techniques for any trick that you want to learn. After watching this video, you will be the most educated person that you know. If, after you watch this video, someone who has not seen this video tries to talk to you, tell them not to touch you and dismiss them immediately. If, after you watch this video, someone who has not seen this video touches you, you may not reap the long-lasting benefits this video has to offer. So if you need to let somebody touch you, stop the tape now and get back to me when you're serious about learning how to juggle. I can wait. Don't touch that. Now that you're serious about learning how to juggle, we can proceed with the lessons. The most important thing to remember is that you have to master one level before you go on to another. The first levels don't take long to master, but as you progress, the levels get harder and harder. And, as funny as it may sound, you have to master one ball before you move on to 2, and then eventually 3. Now when you make these throws, you're throwing with one hand to the other. These throws should all occur on a two-dimensional plane. When you catch the ball, catch it as if you're catching an egg that you don't want to break. In other words, cushion the catch by lowering your hand as the ball comes down. Make sure you're not altering your body position by moving your feet or contorting your torso to catch the ball. If you have to do any of these things, you're making improper throws. Practice until you can make 10 perfect throws in a row, and then you've mastered one ball and are ready to move on to 2. For 2 balls, you start off with one ball in each hand. You then start the first throw just as you did with 1. When that ball reaches its height, which, for a beginner, should be just above the head, your head, you then throw the second ball underneath and across to the other hand. Make sure both throws are the same height, and make sure that you're not juggling 3-dimensionally. Like I said before, basic juggling takes place on a 2-dimensional plane. It may take a while to get comfortable with this pattern. Never move your feet, and never do this. This is what everybody thinks is juggling. More importantly, never go up to a juggler while doing this and say, "I can do 2." He will not be impressed. Once you've mastered 2 balls, depending on your age, you're either ready for a nap or you're ready for 3. Put 2 balls in the hand you're most comfortable starting with. Now the first 2 throws are exactly the same as the 2 throws you made with 2 balls. The only difference is that before you catch the second ball, you throw the third ball just like you did the first, which then starts the cycle over again. So practice making 3 throws until you can do it perfectly 10 times in a row without moving your feet or reaching out for it. When you can do that 10 times in a row, then practice making just one more throw, a total of 4. And when you can do that 10 times in a row, perfectly, add one more throw. Keep slowly progressing by one throw and perfecting it so that making one more throw is easy. If you have trouble making 3 throws, it's going to be difficult to make 4. If 3 throws is easy, then a 4th is no big deal. After you can get about 50 catches with 3 balls, here's some of the tricks that may be possible for you. 4 balls is done by juggling 2 balls in each hand at the same time. To work on this, we have to separate the hands and work on them individually. Put 2 balls in one hand. Make the first throw straight up with a little bit of an outward arc. After that first ball has reached its peak, throw the second one right next to the first one on the inside with the same outward arc. Stop and try to catch both balls in the same hand. Work on this for a little while and then switch hands. The standard practice procedure here is to master one level before you go on to another. So once you can get 2 catches 10 times in a row, then you move on to 3 catches 10 times in a row and so on. Once you can get 10 catches 10 times in a row with each hand, then it's time to put them both together. Now there's 2 basic ways to juggle 4 balls. Alternating your throws like this, or synchronizing them together like this. Either way, just work on 4 throws to start. Again, 10 times in a row. Then progress by 2 throws, 1 per hand. Keep this kind of practice in effect and advancement will happen quickly. If you make a bad throw, stop and start again. Don't try to correct it unless you want to get good at correcting mistakes. Better to spend your time learning how not to make mistakes. Once you get comfortable with 4 balls, here's a few variations that may be possible for you. The 5-ball pattern is the same as 3. Both hands throw to the other, but it's a lot quicker. So to start, you have to get comfortable throwing the first 3 quickly to allow time to get out the other 2. So start with just 3 balls. Practice throwing them high and clapping your hands to get used to using your hands after you make the first 3 throws. Again, 10 times in a row perfectly. A good way to tell if you're making perfect throws is to stand on a chair and practice, or on a ledge atop a skyscraper. If you fall off reaching for a ball, you've made a less than perfect throw. Once you've mastered the 3-ball high flash, you're now ready to attempt a 5-ball flash. Start with 3 balls in your dominant hand and 2 in the other. Flash the first 3 high just like you've been practicing and then throw the other 2 in the same pattern. Make sure they all go to the same height and the same place. This may take some time. Keep working on the flash. Once that's been done 10 times in a row, progress by 2 more throws. Keep slowly progressing by 2 throws, doing it 10 times in a row, and then moving up another 2 throws, and shortly, you'll be able to juggle 5 balls. After that, here's a few tricks that may be possible for you. Six balls is going to take you at least a year to master. Okay, so you still want me to go on? 6 balls is done just like 4, only 3 in each hand. Again, split up the hands and work on them individually. 3 in the right hand, and 3 in the left. Remember, straight up with a little bit of an outward arc. But to get out all 3, you've got to fire them off quickly. So as soon as the first one is out of your hand, throw the second and then the third. Work on the flash in both hands for at least a week. Then after you can do it 10 times in a row, progress by 1 more throw per hand. Once you can comfortably juggle 3 balls in each hand for about 30 catches, try putting them together and see what happens. Probably not this, but in time, with a lot of practice, still, not like this, but maybe something vaguely similar. Remember, with any number, start with just a flash, perfect that, and then move on to the next level. Okay, you'll probably never be able to juggle 7 balls comfortably. You may be able to squeeze off a few qualifying rounds that would impress an audience on a cruise ship if you manage to collect them all at the end without dropping any. But 7 balls takes a lot of time, determination, and you'll have to enroll in an anger management course beforehand. To prepare for 7 balls, it helps to be able to do a 5-ball 5-up pirouette. So either work on that or other 5-ball variations that increase your speed so that you'll be quick enough to get out the last 2 throws of 7 before dropping the first. All you can really do is attempt the flash and try to catch them all. Just keep in mind that they all have to go the same height, and you have to keep the pattern very tight and narrow. Work on the flash for a very long time, then progress by 2 throws. After you've become somewhat comfortable with 7 balls, here's a variation that may be possible for you.
While juggling 7 balls, throw all 7 up high, spin around, and then resume the basic juggling pattern.
Well, if you've got the time, 8 balls takes 3 to 10 years to master. This is what it looks like. Very few 8-ball jugglers consistently maintain the inside to outside arc throughout the duration of a long run, but it still counts so long as you don't drop any or use the wimpy pattern. Master 4 balls in each hand just like you did for 2 and 3, and then put them both together and try not to get too depressed. All the same principles of practice apply. Never do they not. 9 balls. Practiced properly. Should take anywhere from 3 to 30 years to master. This is what it looks like. It helps to be able to execute 7-ball pirouettes. Good luck. 10 balls takes 30 to 60 years to master. Start with 5 in each hand. That alone should take a couple of years. Then put them both together and waste a tremendous amount of time trying the near impossible that very few people will appreciate. Okay, if you're trying 11 balls, your goal is probably not to perform a nice long run of 50 catches, but perhaps to break a world record, and it's not in my best interest to have you working on that. However, I'd recommend wasting 2 hours a day working on it with a video camera on you at all times. I never move on to another trick until I've executed the trick I'm working on 10 times perfectly. Most of the tricks I feel I should already have down, I'll insist on getting 10 times in a row perfectly before moving on. Meaning, if I do it 9 times and then drop on the 10th, I'll have to do it 10 more times until there's no mistakes before reaching the 10th time. This is a good way to piss yourself off. In the case of crotch throws or tricks that can last forever if you keep the cycle going, I practice double the number of throws that I want to perform, and then execute 10 runs of that number in a row, taking very short breaks in between attempts. When practicing numbers, it's counterproductive to not take breaks in between attempts. Your muscles get tired and your accuracy suffers as a result. Take breaks up to a minute long depending on how much time you've been working on whatever number you're trying from 6 on up. And don't spend too much time on any one trick or number. On a new trick or a number that you're trying to perfect, 15 minutes is about all you need. However, there are those breakthrough moments where you start to understand what you're trying to do, and each attempt is easier than the one before. When these moments occur, I'd recommend continuing the practice on that trick until the progress reaches a plateau for that day. Then the next day you'll be pissed again for not being able to get even further, and you'll just have to wait for another breakthrough. Now let's recap the fundamental practice principles. Never move your feet. If you move your feet, you've made an improper throw. If you can't catch it from where you're standing, watch where it drops and learn from that. If you practice your mistakes, you'll get good at making mistakes. Don't try more than you're capable of. Master one level before going on to another. Don't try to run 5 club back crosses if you can't get a flash 10 times in a row perfectly. Master the flash. The flash is the key to everything. It sets the foundation for how the pattern is structured. If the foundation is shaky, you may be able to build upon it, but it's inevitable that it will fall apart. Whatever the trick is you're trying to learn, be it a simple high throw, a behind the back toss, an under the leg, or a flip off the head, start with the most primitive form of that trick, usually with just one object, and work on making that throw so that it lands comfortably, allowing an easy transition to the next throw you have to make with that object. Slowly add all the objects that will be involved in the final trick, mastering each level on the way so that by the time you have the total number of objects involved, it will be a familiar field to do the trick. Now let's go through 2 examples to demonstrate how this applies to everything. Let's say this is the trick you want to learn. These throws are called crotch throws, unless you can think of a better name that isn't already taken by a human being. To learn this trick, start with 1 club. Work with 1 club for a very long time, getting comfortable with this type of throw. It starts from a normal catch with your hand mid-handle, then moves between the legs as your hand slides down to the knob, releasing the club, which flies over or beside the opposite shoulder. Make sure the throw allows for a comfortable catch for the other hand that allows it to easily make the same throw to the other side. The next step is to move on to 3, working on making 1 throw and then resuming the basic pattern. Then looping the same club from both sides. Then making 2 consecutive throws, and then flashing. Once the flash is comfortable, then you slowly progress by 1 throw. Just know that this is a very aesthetic trick, and to move your body as little as possible. Never lift your feet off the ground or rock them from side to side. Here's another example. Let's say you want to learn this trick, called 5 club back crosses. Start with 1 club, getting familiar with throwing it behind your back and catching it in the right place to allow an easy transition for the left hand to throw behind your back. It should fly right up over your shoulder and come straight back down. This throw is similar to the crotch throw in that you start with your hand mid-handle, then slide down to the knob and throw it. Next move on to 3, making 1 throw, and then 2, and then flashing 3. Try it starting from the right and the left. The next step would be to juggle 4 clubs and flash all 4 behind your back. Again, try it starting from the right and the left. And the next step would be to juggle 5 clubs and flash 3 behind your back. And then 4. And then 5. After getting the flash of 5 solid, then progress by 2 throws and perfecting each level. If you wanted to go further and work on 7 club back crosses, I would suggest working on a 6 club back cross flash, then learning how to juggle 7 clubs, and then take it 1 back cross at a time.
At this point in the video, you should have a general understanding as to what it takes to be a world champion juggler, like me. At this point, I'd just like to say, when waiting for an elevator, before you get in, wait to see if somebody wants to get out. This next section of the video will give you a little bit of an idea as to some of the possibilities that are possible by branching out from standard, basic technical formations of juggling patterns and coming up with your own stuff.
There may be days when your practice isn't going as well as you would like. It's important to acknowledge this when it happens and just understand that this is a natural part of practice. You will have good days and bad. Usually the day after a bad day is an exceptionally good day, so try not to get frustrated, and just keep your practice light during those times. Well, unfortunately we've reached the end of the video. Don't worry, I have other videos that you can buy. I just sold my DVD player. Check my website for the release of my latest video, Juggling Kung Fu Master 2000. Here's a quick clip. I hope you've paid attention during the course of this video.
and learned everything there was to learn. If you have to watch it again, please send me an additional $35 for every time you watch this, prorated per minute, rounded up to the next minute for sectional reviewing. So until next time, practice every day, eat 5 small meals daily, and enjoy a frosty Slim Fast shake for those in-between meal emergencies. Breathe in on the negative reps and out on the positive reps. And after you use your feet to get the handles out from behind you on the Cybex bench press, don't continue to use your legs along with your arms to lift the weight.